Namaste, everyone. Puneet, welcome to this show today.
Thank you, and Hari Om, everyone.
So today, dear audience, we are doing a interesting session. I've invited a friend of mine, Puneet Maheshwari, to talk about his experiences of doing yoga for the last 3 months. So, Puneet, welcome first of all, and thank you for taking this time. Why don't we start off by first telling the audience who you are?
Right, absolutely. So, first of all, again, Rajesh, thank you very much for your invaluable guidance and coaching, just getting me started with yoga over the last several months. I have found it very, very sort of eye-opening in that sense, and I'll be sharing some of my experiences. So, thank you for your time and just coaching me, guiding me to begin this journey. My name is Puneet Maheshwari. I hail from a town in northern India, which is called Kanpur, and but been here in the U.S. in New Jersey here for the last 30 years or so, living here with my family, and I work for Deloitte Consulting for the last 10 years or so, and been in primarily in the pharmaceutical sector, providing life sciences advice to our many clients. So that's what I do for my living.
Nice. That's good to hear. Question for you. Why did you choose to do yoga amongst all the other exercises? You've been living in the West for so long. You probably would have been influenced by many different types of exercises. But can you tell us about your story as to what got you onto the yoga path?
Absolutely, Rajesh. So, what really prompted, I want to say, some part of the pandemic that we are all living in, that really prompted it, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, I work for Deloitte Consulting, and that requires a lot of travel, etc. So I found myself at home due to the pandemic, and because of that, I found myself leading a little bit more sedentary lifestyle, long days, just sitting, etc. So I was getting increasingly concerned about it, and as we live through the COVID months, I want to say something else that really prompted me is doing something about boosting our immunity, even when we are sort of secluded in our own homes, etc. So a few things, even when I was on the road, I could always find some time to go exercise, etc. But then again, this came to a little bit of a halt, coupled with the desire of boosting our immunity, and more than that, just the recognition that I'm putting in all of these long hours for the company or the clients that I'm working for, but I'm not spending enough time on myself. And I think that recognition itself, that me first, awareness, do. And as I looked for various different techniques, I mean, you can probably tell from the hat that I used to go to Orange Theory, pre pandemic times, but then looking at what are my best options, and something that could just not only just keep me physically fit, but mentally stimulated and connected by myself or with myself. That is what really attracted me towards yoga.
Fantastic. And you and I, we talked about a specific regimen for the last 3 months, and you hopefully have diligently followed that. And what did you do for the last 3 months? Can you describe your routine?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that would be my advice to others who are beginning to look at who beginning to sort of explore yoga as a way of living their lives, right?
Mhm.
So starting small is the key, right? I mean, because we don't want to take on too much. So when I say starting small, and Rajesh, this was your very specific guidance again, to start with Surya Namaskar, right? And I'll,
Yeah.
I'll, I'll tell you, when I first started doing Surya Namaskar, several months ago, I could barely do like 5 or 6, and I would like kind of break out into sweat.
Right.
But starting small, and then kind of getting your agility back, your muscle tensions all released, etc. So that would be my advice, or something that I have done, starting small with Surya Namaskars, and then gradually sort of increasing the duration and the number or the reps, etc. So I did Surya Namaskar, but also along with that, going back to my point about boosting immunity, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I started doing, some of the pranayam techniques of respiration and breathing. So I started doing anulom vilom. I started doing pranayam, from a breathing perspective, etc. So that way, I was feeling like it was giving me the right mix of just not only just the physical and some part of the mind as I started doing all of the different breathing exercises, but then it started kind of inducing a little bit of self-mindedness or the spirituality about it, just being able to connect with myself. So that's what I have been doing for the last several months.
Fantastic. So it was a combination of Surya Namaskar and some breathing exercises
That is
that
it.
you've been doing. Roughly, how
That is
much time did you spend on an average per day?
I want to say, 20 to 25 minutes every day. And something else I was still doing just a little bit more, from a endurance perspective. I was
Hmm.
still, doing, because we live here in the Northeast in the cold. I mean, I was still doing, treadmill, etc. So I would do brisk walking in the evening, and,
Right.
whenever there was an opportunity, we had a good day, etc., we would then go out. But then I still, sometime during the day, I would get on the treadmill and walk, do a brisk walk or a light jog or something like that. So altogether, what I've really tried to do is, and this is the key, that spend about at least about an hour on myself.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good investment of time, I would say, for every one of us, especially for people in
Yes.
consulting jobs, and especially more so in these pandemic days where we are locked down. So tell me, 3 4 months you've been doing Surya Namaskar and breathing exercises. So what three things have changed for you for good? Can you describe
So
a few personal
absolutely,
benefits
sure,
that you
sure.
yourself has seen?
Let me start with the first benefit, which is a little intangible. Okay, but the
Mm-hmm.
first benefit that I have seen is just that gratification that I'm spending time on myself.
Right.
I can't tell you, Rajesh, how happy I'm about this. I'll tell you, before I started into this regimen, I mean, my mornings were either you wake up, you shower up, and get something quick to eat and get in front of the Zoom calls, etc. Or if you didn't have the time, then you would, some of the Zoom calls started at 7 a.m. You would just directly almost jump out of bed and be in front of the meetings. And one thing is, like, I've made a sort of a mental commitment to myself, and I can tell you this is the best sort of intangible benefit that I'm reaping. I just feel so good about the fact that I have a commitment and I'm keeping that commitment to myself. Other, I'd say, tangible benefits are, just the awareness, being able to control your anxiety and the stress level, etc. Because you learn this as you go, just from a self-awareness perspective. And last but not the least, just your agility. I told you, Rajesh, that I started with maybe 5 or 6 reps of
Right.
Surya Namaskar in the beginning, and now I'm upwards of 25, 30, etc., and I'm able to do it. And so that agility has increased quite a bit. So those are some of the benefits that I have derived.
That's fantastic. You talked about commitment giving you the discipline to do it, and you know, being self-aware, and that reducing the anxiety for you, and also physical agility itself. Can you talk to me a little bit about how has your sleep pattern changed? Has it become better?
sleep pattern has definitely become much better. Okay, that all of that goes back to the commitment that you make to yourself.
Right.
I had a very irregular, sleep pattern. Now I am, being able to prioritize my work better, focus on my work better, and make a commitment that now I'm trying to sleep on an average about 7.5 hours.
Right.
They say that your sleep cycles should be in multiples of 1.5. So I'm going for the fifth multiple of 1.5 and not the fourth multiple. For the third multiple, as used to be the case for me, in the past.
Right. Right. No, that's really beautiful. That's beautiful. And you know, one other thing that's very important is that the sleep gives us a more relaxed composure the next day, and then combined with exercise, it gives in a positive virtuous cycle because you're now sleeping better. Therefore, the next day you're more relaxed, and then you're exercising, and then again you're sleeping better, and then you go on and go on and go on. It all starts with a commitment, then sticking to a regimen, and then doing it. So. Um, you started this after a long time, the yoga part of it, and you've improved your agility, boosted your immunity, like what you say. Tell me one thing: if if there was a newbie who wants to start, okay, yoga, what are
Mhm.
the top three tips that you would give to that person?
Yeah. First of all, I mean, I talked quite a bit about the commitment. Make that commitment to yourself. Okay. Make that commitment. Your family is going to challenge you, right? I mean, it coincidentally, it so happened that I started this round around just about the New Year's
Right.
resolution. This was not a New Year resolution. This just happened to be around that time, but I made that commitment to myself. And because of that, I mean, that commitment is the first thing that you have to make to yourself. And the second thing I'd say is start small. I mean, if you're finding it difficult to make that hour or hour and a half per day commitment, start small. Start with, like, okay, I'm going to spend somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. Okay.
Right.
Start small, then you kind of start scaling up and adopting it more. So that's my exercise. That's my advice. Sorry, that just make a commitment to yourself and start small. Start somewhere, okay, and then you will just get into it, and then you'll just start enjoying so much. And I think, as I said, the biggest benefit is just that commitment to yourself and what you're reaping out of it, what you're gaining out of it. I think that would be tremendous to then make you want to invest even more and more into this.
Okay. Any other suggestions?
Uh, no, and just try to see what works. I mean, you can do different combinations of, maybe you can do Surya Namaskar one day, and then you can do all of your pranayam activities the other day. If you just want to mix it up and do something different every day, that's fine. But like I said, start small, start spending that time. That's what is most important. And within a few months, I'm sure, if you stick to your regimen, or your commitment to yourself, it'll just become a way of living. And I'm very proud to say there has been not a single day in the last 3 months plus or so that I've not done this in the morning before I got to work. And my family is extremely proud and happy about it.
That's really wonderful. I was about to ask you, when you say when you say make a commitment, my question is, okay, I make a commitment, but then how do I stick to it? So, so you're saying, do it every day without
you
breaking.
you yeah, don't do it every day, don't break it. And once you make that commitment, which is the first thing, you'll find a way. I prioritize my things differently,
Right.
right? I mean, I prioritize my things differently, I focus differently, right? What is important for me for tomorrow, and then I focus on that so that I get my time to myself, including the sleep time, the yoga time, etc. So those are all of the different benefits that kind of come together as a package.
Fantastic. That's really good to hear. Thank you. I think that's all the time that what we have today for introducing us to what you did the last 3 months. I could clearly get this picture that just because you made a commitment to yourself, It not only boosted your immunity, built your agility, but more importantly, you have taken charge of your life by prioritizing what you want to do rather than letting the events take you through and then mess up your entire day. And then you are now able to focus better and, of course, sleep better and all that. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and with the audience, and I really appreciate it. I wish you great journey ahead. Stay focused and continue the exercise in these pandemic times is not very easy for each one of us, and sticking to a routine that is easily doable within the four constraints of the four walls, and that would still not only act at the physical level but also at a mental level. That's really important, and really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Rajesh, I can't thank you enough for, all of the coaching and the advice and the guidance you have given to me personally over these months. That has really kept me going and kept me motivated. Thanks for having me on this discussion here today. And I really hope that I'm able to sort of be a positive influence on others who are just looking at picking this up. And as anytime, anybody can feel free to reach out to me via Rajesh, of course. Happy to share my experiences even more. Hari Om.
Thank you so much. Thank you.